And on this episode of Maybe You're the Problem, we have this from Fandom Pulse. The failed Miss Marvel actress knows how to save the MCU. So, is she gonna fire herself? Pretend for a second that you run a company and you have 5 products. One of those 5 products is continuously failing. No one wants it. Everyone's writing terrible reviews about it. And every time you try to push this product, it is absolutely rejected. And you lose hundreds of millions of dollars on it. Would you, as a business owner, keep pushing that product or get rid of it entirely and focus on the 4 that are actually making money? Miss Marvel, the character, and the actress is nothing more than an MCU failure at this point, and there is no way to make her better. Failed TV show, at the time the lowest watched Disney Plus MCU show. That is not a good sign. Then you have the Marvels, one of the biggest box office flops and disasters for the MCU. Now you want to have her character trying to make the Young Avengers? Do you think that movie is going to make money? Do you think if it's a series, that series is going to bring in viewers? No, it's not. So when she says she knows how to fix it, is the first step fire me entirely and get rid of my character? Because if it's not that, then you have no idea what you're talking about. In a recent interview, she said that reigniting fan interest primarily involves making audiences care about the characters. No one cares about your character. No one cared about your movie. You seem like a lovely woman. I don't have a single bad thing to say about you personally. However, you in Marvel is not working. They have destroyed your character. When in fact, though, I think they could have made her much better in the Marvels. Because there was that scene where they were on that planet and the atmosphere was getting sucked out and everything was crumbling around all these people, and her character was saying, we just can't leave these people here, and Captain Marvel was saying, oh, we have to save the ones we can, even though that Captain Marvel is essentially immortal. And after she said that, Miss Marvel gave her a look of absolute disgust and then got on the ship and they flew away to safety. Now a talented writer would have seen that scene and thought, hey, she is now mad at Carol. Maybe she shouldn't idolize Carol or Captain Marvel going forward. Maybe she should see her as a woman that does have a lot of flaws. And then maybe she fell in love with the idea of how great Captain Marvel is. But when you actually see her in person, she's nothing to brag about. She's nothing to idolize. So you could have made it where now the character Miss Marvel is angry at her and says you could have saved these people but you chose not to and all these things. But instead, they decided to go with, hey, we're going to have her fangirl out in the next scene anyway. That's the difference between good writing and bad writing. She advocates for more character-centric storytelling in the MCU and emphasizes the thrill of seeing beloved characters team up again, akin to the excitement generated by Avengers Endgame. Everything after Endgame was terrible. And it was terrible for a reason, because you guys don't know what you're doing at this point. Since Stan Lee has died, everything from Marvel going forward has been a disaster. I would say even Spider-Man No Way Home wasn't really that great of a movie. It was only great because we got to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprise their roles as Spider-Man, and it was a really cool moment seeing those 3 together on screen. But overall, it really wasn't that great of a movie. It had some great action scenes. I mean, Willem Dafoe was fantastic in it, and we got to see Dr. Octopus again. They were both great, though. But overall, was it a really great movie? I don't know. I think it was just nothing but fan service and nostalgia bait. Fandom Pulse is brutal at this point, okay? During the interview with Amon of the failed Miss Marvel said, I don't know. If it's about just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because then, like, what's left? You know, I think it's just about making the audience care about the character. And I think they established so many wonderful characters in the last phase of the MCU that it would be nice to see them all again and see them team up. No, they wouldn't. They had the perfect roadmap for these Marvel movies before Endgame. Have a lot of individual stories, have them self-contained in their own little worlds, and then have the team-up movies with the Avengers, with Avengers Age of Ultron, with Captain America Civil War, and then you, of course, had Infinity War and Endgame. But between those movies, you weren't really having that many team-ups. In fact, I think team-ups kind of cheapened the brand of the characters. The article goes on to say, she's a little right, but mostly wrong. Again, brutal. Wasn't Miss Marvel already a character-driven, emotional diatribe? Poor Kamala feeling like a misfit, gaining superpowers, and her, hey presto, everything in the world is right again. Haven't beloved characters already teaming up in Madam Web and the Marvels? And then the article lays it out point by point of why these movies and products are failing. Every single person that works at Marvel Studios is generally a fan. No, they are not. No, that is a ridiculous quote. They are not a fan of it. I mean, look what John Carlos Esposito said the other day, okay? He said he wants to play Professor Xavier, but he doesn't want to do it in a wheelchair. Because he doesn't like sitting down all day. Does that sound like someone that realistically says, I love Marvel and I love the character and I want to embody him the best way possible? Do these writers at Marvel that are making this absolute woke, diverse, and inclusive bullshit that everyone hates, do you think they realistically like the product? To be a Marvel writer in today's Marvel is one of the easiest jobs in the world. Because all you have to do is just pick up a comic book that was very, very popular and say, we're gonna do this. We're not gonna change anything. We're not gonna put our own little spin on it. We're not gonna make it for modern audiences. We're just gonna do this because these people knew what they were doing back then and they knew how to bring in a fan base. So no, they are generally not fans of Marvel at all. None of these people that work for Marvel and Disney these days actually care about what the company was back then and what audience members actually cared about. They want to care about their own diverse and inclusive spin on everything like that. They want to push their politics down our throats, and more importantly, they want to go on Twitter or other social medias and bitch about how the world is just racist and sexist and homophobic because we did not consume their product. They are all talentless hacks. The quote continues with, and so in love with their craft and in love with their job. They absolutely do not love their craft. They absolutely do not love their job. Because their job should be, let me get as many people as humanly possible to like my product and spend their hard-earned money to watch the creations that I've made. They do not care at all. And I think that dedication to their work is what makes a good, if not great movie. That's why your TV show was terrible. That's why your movie was terrible. That's why your spin-off Young Avengers is going to be terrible. Because they do not care. They see you as brown girl, and that is it. They are going to push you forward in front of all the plot holes, all the bad writing, everything that made those products bad, and say, oh, if you don't like this, you don't like brown people. You don't like Middle Eastern women. That's all they're doing. And she should know that, because that's what's happening. So I don't think her head is that far up her own ass. I think she's trying to give a really, really good on-the-nose description of what's going on, that, yes, people that care about their work make better things. But to say that's what's going on in Marvel today, ridiculous. You are nothing more than a political pawn, and that is it. And with Forbes shilling for her, she's only 21, but increasingly it feels like the Marvel's actress understands Marvel and the MCU better than anyone. So where was all this wisdom and knowledge when they were doing her TV show and her movies and the Young Avengers? Did she say at all, hey, this really isn't working. You guys know this product's not going to do well, right? Hey, we're doing the Marvels. Yeah, it's a really bad movie, Kevin. Can we maybe talk about that? This movie's really bad? No, she didn't do any of that, though. But she didn't do that. She waited until everything flopped to then say, hey, things aren't working that well right now. Really? What insight? And she's only 21? What is she, stunted? A 5-year-old could have figured this out. Ridiculous. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think this character is going to remotely become something great in the future? Can you see this actress being hired in anything going forward? Let me know what you think about that.